So a lot of golfers who constantly complain about being stuck behind the ball are very aware of the fact that they're not creating enough twist or turn or torque in their golf swing. And what we're going to look at this video is how we can help you create more of that twist, turn, or torque that's going to allow you to get unstuck and allow you to start getting your energy and your speed to the golf ball. So as you can see, I've got a couple driveway markers here that we're using for alignment sticks, and we're going to use these just to make it a little more simple as to what we're talking about when we talk about tilt and turn, because we need to have both those things occur in the golf swing to get you unstuck from behind the golf ball. So essentially where a lot of golfers get in trouble is that when they take the club back, they kind of pull the right arm behind their body and they kind of turn both their upper and their lower body more or less together. And when we get this singular kind of movement to the right, what we tend to see is that we get a little bit of that reverse spine angle that a lot of people are fighting against. And what we tend to see the most from down the line is that we tend to get this right arm way behind us back into the transverse plane. So a lot of things are kind of working against us from this point on. So where we really want to help golfers try to get unstuck and learn how to create this twist and this torque is we want to help them start understanding that we've got to separate what the pelvis is doing from what the upper body is doing. And we don't want to treat the body and the turn like a door hinge, meaning that everything just turns to the right and opens. That tends to cause a lot of problems with being able to create enough tilt in order to create the rotation. So what we're going to take a look at is how adding some tilt can really help in the aid of rotation. But when we don't have said tilt, what we're going to see is that it's really, really hard, if not entirely impossible, to create the torque we need to transfer energy from the club to the ball. So what's with all this talk about turning and tilting, and what's the difference, and why does this matter for your golf swing? That's what we're going to try to show you here, is when we think about how we are turning and tilting in the golf swing, one is not the same as the other. And I think a lot of times we mislabel these things and we kind of confuse what's really going on. So generally speaking, what we're trying to do when we take the club back is we're actually trying to create some stability in the lower body as we kind of create this frontal plane torque and move into our trail side. So what we can see here is that I've got the club more in front of my body and I've created a lot of tilt within my shoulder angle, which is a really good thing. We like to see this. So by creating some tilt, I've now got to a position to where I'm going to have to try to manage that tilt. So right now I'm at the top of my swing, and as I transition the tilt the other direction, what we can see is that I've got my right arm back in front of me, which is going to be super helpful later on. But the reason this tilt is so important is because this is where most golfers stall out. And what I mean by stall out is most golfers at this moment in time have already opened that lower body, and we can see that it's wide open now. The upper body is kind of synced up and way behind, and now my only way back to the ball is to release the angles in my right arm. And now not only does that cause me to lose power, but that also causes me to close the club face. And one thing that we know about the club face is that if it is closing during transition, we're never going to be able to use our body to take advantage of those ground reaction forces. Instead, we're going to have to try to use our body to open that face. So a lot of our golfers who are struggling with being stuck behind the ball feel like they can't turn. And the truth of the matter is they can't turn because they've lost their ability to turn through their tilt, meaning that when they get to the top, instead of getting back into this tilted position, they tend to kind of stall out early and the shoulders are very level to the ground here. So now I don't have any of that tilt. And now that I don't have any of the tilt, all of a sudden the only thing I can do is spin the lower body and go ahead and straighten the right arm. And now we can see I've lost the extension in my trail wrist, my face is closed, and my path is probably left. So that's kind of steep going steep, which is never going to be a great combo for us. So what we're going to look at in the next part of the video is how we can better work on overcoming this and making sure we're getting some tilt so that we can get to our rotation. So now that we've identified where a lot of people are getting stuck, when we talk about the tilt, all we're talking about is this upper stick, and we're just talking about how we turn and create an angle with this upper stick. So you can see I'm not turning both sticks together. which gets me turning relatively flat and to the horizon. Rather, we want to keep the lower stick kind of quiet. Not saying it's not going to move some, but we want to feel like it stays relatively quiet, and we get the left side of this stick pointing more down at our right foot and really creating some of that tilt. And then, like we talked about, the real trick here is once we get to the top, we got to transfer that pressure to the left, but more importantly, we got to get that tilt back into the equation. So now I'm still able to stay on plane, and once again, now we can add the rotation. So now I can freely rotate up and through the lead side. And that's really key, is getting to that lead side and being able to rotate. Where so many of us get in trouble is we get to the top, we lose that tilt, and then the only thing we can do is throw and extend the right arm and then extend the left leg to make room for that. And once again, that tends to get our path too far to the left and the face too close, causing a lot of issues with our ball flight. So if this video speaks to you and you feel like you're a golfer who's stuck behind the ball more often than not, what you can do is start thinking about this tilt scenario. And you can go to the driving range, you can take a couple of these driveway markers, very inexpensive at your local hardware store, and you simply can film yourself kind of trying to make some of this tilt and see how you do with that, and then make some golf swings, film that as well, and then compare and contrast the two. So getting some tilt into your golf swing is going to really allow you to create more rotation. Because once again, if we're standing tall and we just turn, yes, that does create a twist, but that's more of our door hinge scenario to where the whole body is twisting about an upright axis. But when we create the tilt, now all of a sudden we're able to get the arms and the club to work more on plane, which is going to work more for us instead of against us. So thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. If you haven't already, be sure to let all your friends know about all the amazing things we're doing here at Measured Golf, including the podcast. And if you have any questions at all, make sure to hit us up in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. So until next time, keep grinding.